Hello, Cheapskaters. My name is Kath Armstrong. I'm the creator of the CheapKates Club, where our goal is to live life debt-free, cashed up and laughing. I created the CheapKates Club a little over 24 years ago. Actually, this is our birthday month, so we've been going 24 years. And for 24 years, I've been sharing how my family has managed to live life debt-free, cashed up and laughing. If this is your first time visiting our channel, welcome. And if it's not, welcome back. I am glad you could join us tonight. Now, this is a YouTube premiere and it is Tuesday, August 25. It is Tuesday, the 12th of August, 2025. It's been one of those days, folks. Chat is enabled, so if you're logged into your YouTube account, you will be able to join the live chat. If you're not, no problem. Leave your comments in the discussion box. It's just below me there. Now, I do read every comment and I do my best to answer your questions. It's usually the day after the show or maybe the day after that, depending on how busy I am. Guys, it's been chilly here today. We had a couple of days where it was really warm and so nice, and today is cold. I was really tempted to turn the heater on and say to Billy-O with the electricity bill. I know, can you believe I would say that? Well, then I thought about, our electricity budget and how we're just a little bit ahead, staying just a little bit ahead in my budgeting, and I like that. So I decided it really wasn't worth the bigger bill and a bigger, even if it was temporary, debt. So I just put my dressing gown on over the top of my clothes. Now, I know I've said this before, if it's really cold and I'm just cold, I don't want to put the heater on, I just throw my dressing gown on. And I can say, thank goodness the postie didn't knock on the door this afternoon, because he would have thought I was really lazy. But that thought about having an electricity bill debt took me down a rabbit hole. Another one. I'm easily distracted. And before I knew it, I was thinking about the two types of people in the world. It was a rabbit hole with a lot of, tunnels going off it. And there are two types of people in the world, those with debt and those without. Now, many of the differences in behaviour between these two groups are subtle, but those differences can result in staggering changes, and they can play a huge part in whether you have a comfortable life living the cheapskates way versus living pay to pay, never knowing if you'll be able to pay the bills or buy groceries or put fuel in the car or get little Johnny's teeth fixed. And I thought, well, considering the amount of stress and the serious financial struggles that debt can cause, I think it's important that we be knowledgeable about this very topic, the difference between debt and no debt, or debtors and non-debtors. So I'm going to ask a question. You don't have to answer. You don't have to tell me or anyone else, but tell yourself and be honest. Do you tend to lean toward the behaviours of a debtor, someone who's in debt all the time, or those of someone who's without debt, like us? We don't have debt. And we don't have debt because I hate debt, any debt, with a vengeance. I just cannot stand it. I always say, and I've said this before, if you've been around for a while, you'll have heard this. When you owe money, no matter how big or small the amount, you own nothing and you run the risk of losing it all. And it's true. It's just not what the popular finance type gurus want you to understand. So they will tell you I'm wrong. I'm not wrong, folks. When you owe money, it doesn't matter how big or small it is, you run the risk of losing everything because you own nothing. So we need to recognise how we behave towards debt and if necessary, change our mindset and our attitude towards debt. I want you to hate it as much as I do. I want you to work really hard to get rid of it. If you're at a point in your life and you haven't decided to do absolutely everything you can to get rid of that debt, I'm asking you, I'm begging you, do that now. Make that decision now. If you are currently just starting out in life, and we have a few viewers who are, they're just finishing uni, just buying their first homes, starting their families, that sort of thing. So they're only young in the financial life time span. If you're currently adopting debtor behaviours, understand that changing those behaviours in even teeny tiny small ways is going to allow you to become the type of person that can avoid debt naturally and easily. Here's some differences between the debtors and the non-debtors, the cheapskates. Debtors spend more than they earn. No kidding, you'll say, but debtors spend more than they earn. It's really difficult to get into debt if you spend less than you make. Doesn't matter what you spend, if you are spending less than what you are making, it is really, really almost impossible to get into debt. It doesn't matter whether your salary is $25,000 or $250,000 or $500,000. If you spend more than you earn, you are going to wind up in debt. Get into the habit of living beneath your means. And that simply means get into the habit of spending less than you earn. Another difference is that debtors use money to make themselves feel better. Lots of people do it. Probably 95% of the population does it. A big part of getting into debt is purchasing things, services, products, ideas that you don't need or really want. They're done on a whim. They're spontaneous. These people, they shop for recreation. It's a hobby. Shopping is a hobby to them. It's not a chore. So guys, remember this. Write it on your fridge if you have to. Shopping is not a recreational activity. It is a chore that must be done. Going to the shops is not fun. Going to the shops is not, we don't go for enjoyment. We go because it is work that must be done to keep our homes running properly. Going to the shops isn't entertainment for the kids. It's not entertainment for you. If you shop and spend money that you don't have or potentially don't have just to feel good, find something else that gives you that feeling of euphoria or happiness or peace or calmness or whatever it is you get from spending. Learn to knit. Create a reading nook that's just for you. Find a comfortable chair, put it in a corner somewhere with a little table, a rug, comfy pillow, some books, a good lamp, just for you, and spend the time that you would have spent shopping reading a book, or sit there and knit or sew or do a puzzle. Take up a hobby, something you've always wanted to do. But don't think that going to the shopping centres and even just wandering around, that costs you money. You've used fuel to get there. Very few people actually walk to the shopping centre. So that's cost you money just for a start to get there. And then there could well be, you'll go, I won't buy anything. Well, I will have a cup of coffee. There goes $10. Find things that you can do at home. Go to the park, feed the ducks, ride around the block with the kids, pull weeds in the garden, do something else. But don't go to the shopping centre just to make yourself feel good. Difference number 3 is that debtors avoid the use of cash. This became very, very 2020, 2021, even into 2022, it was very popular to see signs, card only everywhere. Debtors love that. And they will be the folks who argue with you when you explain the value and the benefits of a cash budget. They'll go, oh, no, it's dirty, it's inconvenient, you've got to actually carry it with you. It's so much easier to just go with my phone and the money's gone. By all means, go with your phone and the money's gone. But it's mindless spending. You can't get into debt if you only use cash, because once it's gone, and you can't spend any more money. That does assume that you're not going to borrow cash from your colleague at work. Oh, I left my purse at home. Can I borrow $5 for a coffee or whatever? Don't do it. Drink water, but go to a cash budget. It's still legal tender, guys. You can still use cash. Don't listen to the news, the current affairs shows, radio programs, read the newsletters and the Facebook pages and things from all those people who are saying, we're moving towards a cashless society, only because people won't use cash. Use your cash. Commit to using cash as much as possible. Twofold. You can't overspend, and it will make you think about your spending. It's a little harder to hand over $100 in actual cash, open your purse, take it out, count it out, and hand that over to see that you're only getting 2 shoes or 3 books for that $100 or 2 dinners than it is to spend it on your debit or credit card, because you swipe it. You haven't really done anything. There's nothing in your mind to say, I've spent that money. Another benefit of using cash is that you actually immediately own what you've bought. You don't have X amount of interest-free payments to make before you own it, or you don't have 98 minimum payments on your credit card because you just added extra debt. That means that you're going to be paying it off for 6 years and, 12 times the original price. Switch to cash. And this difference between debtors and non-debtors stands out, especially at Christmas time or when you're nearing retirement. It's interesting because most debtors are really poor savers. Now, I know some of you out there are brilliant savers, absolutely brilliant. I know others who are trying to be brilliant savers and working at it really hard, and there's still a few who just don't get that if you spend it, you can't save it. Only the people that make an effort to save are rewarded with a growing savings account or a growing emergency fund or a growing retirement fund. They've actually put the effort into saving. They've learnt how to save. Do you remember the 10-10-80 rule? Give 10%, save 10%, live on 80%. It still works. It still works. Even in 2025, with 2025 prices, that rule still works. So put it into practice. Get into the habit of giving 10%. Get into the habit of saving 10% of each pay before you do anything else. Have it filtered off by your paymaster into a separate account, into your emergency fund, into your savings account before you do anything else. And that includes paying your bills, because your bills are going to come from the 80%. Another thing that stands out between debtors and non-debtors is debtors are gamblers. Now, they may not be, at the club every night putting hundreds of dollars through the pokies or the TAB or whatever it is, putting money on horses or whatever. But they're gamblers because they try to be lucky. They try really hard. They gamble on the off chance that they've overspent, but something will happen and they'll be, have the money to pay for the overspending. They accumulate debt and then they gamble on something happening in the future to save them, to get rid of that debt. They hope and they plan for the best possible outcome without actually putting any effort into paying down the debt and building some savings. They just keep on keeping on spending when they don't have the money. People without debt, they plan too, but they plan for the worst. They think ahead and think, oh no, what if I have to paint the house in 5 years, and they work out the costs and they save up for it. What if I have to replace the washing machine in 2 years? They work out the cost and they start saving up for it. So when those worst things happen, they've got the money to pay for them. They build their emergency fund on the premise that something could happen where they will have no income. And so they will fall back on their emergency fund because they've built it up to be able to live off. They won't have to change their standard of living unless they absolutely want to, but they'll have money to cover the mortgage or the rent, the gas, the electricity, the phone, the water, the rates, all the insurances, fuel for their cars, children's education, food, clothes, whatever. They've thought ahead in the worst case scenario and planned for it. If it doesn't happen, they've still got that nest egg there to use for something, or to leave to their family, or to donate to the local cat shelter or whatever, if they choose to. But they won't be struggling when or if something goes wrong. And I know firsthand, from firsthand experience, how hard that can be. When that worst thing happens, when that disaster strikes, debtors are in trouble. People that aren't in debt, the non-debtors, they breeze through it. They have the solution in the form of their savings or their emergency fund. They don't have to stress. They're not worried about it. They're not losing sleep over it. They're not getting ulcers because they've planned ahead and saved. It just makes sense. If you do nothing else, at least try and save something to fall back on in an emergency. When you've got an emergency fund, disasters are easy to handle. They're almost stress-free and you don't worry about them. Another thing is debtors actually lack that long-term plan. Staying out of debt takes a plan. We call it a budget. But, it takes a plan. We've got to think about and plan our spending according to what's coming in so that what's going out is less than what's coming in. We live that plan. We work that plan so that we don't have to worry about being in debt. So eliminating debt, getting rid of it, needs a plan. Getting into debt doesn't require a plan. That's easy to do. Getting out of it needs a plan, takes work. You actually have to work the plan. You can't come up with a whiz-bang fantastic plan, then sit back and expect it to happen. You actually have to work the plan. Non-debtors have long-term financial goals. Those goals keep debt from entering their lives. They've created their plan, they stick to it. Debtors lack self-control. I'd go so far as to say self-control is the root of most debt issues. Non-debtors have learned to say no. They've learned to deny themselves the things that they don't really need, that they don't really want, they don't really like, they don't see a purpose for. Just because everybody's got it doesn't mean you have to have it. So if you struggle with that, before you make any purchase, before you buy anything, before you hand over any cash, because we're on a cash budget now, ask yourself whether the item is something you need or want. And if it is, if it's over $100, you're going to wait 24 hours and then come back. If you still want it or need it after 24 hours, still think it's worth the money, then think about paying cash for it. Ask yourself, does it fit into your budget? Is there room in your budget to be able to pay for it? Do you have the cash to pay for it? As cheapskates, we ditch the stuff that's not important to us so we can have the cash to enjoy the things that are. And that means we plan our purchases. All our spending, it's planned. It's not necessarily, written down in a ledger somewhere, but we think about our spending. We're conscious of what we spend. We know that, for instance, I know I get X amount of play money each week, mad money, whatever you want to call it. Well, if I'm out and I want to buy lunch, but I also want to go and buy some yarn, I have to weigh up which one I really want. There's not enough money in my play money purse. Which one do I really want? So think about those things. Non-debtors do that. Savers do that. We're conscious of our spending and what we're spending on, if it's going to really make us happy. If it's going to make us happy for longer than the 3 minutes while we're handing over the money and getting the change and getting the bag and walking out the store. The last difference is debtors are in the habit of avoiding their bills. They'll go to the letterbox and they'll bring them in, but they'll just let them pile up. They ignore them. They know their bills. They know they have no money to pay those bills. So like an ostrich, head in the sand, what they can't see, they don't have to worry about. Usually until it's almost too late. They think that if they haven't seen it, they don't owe it. One day they're going to have to come up for air and those bills are going to catch up with them. It's much better to be conscientious about paying bills on time and having no debt. And that's where the laughing part of living the cheapskates way comes in, debt-free, cashed up and laughing. We're laughing because we don't have to worry. The money is in the budget. It's there in the bank for us to pay the bills. And you're debt-free. You're cashed up. You're building a good cash stash if you're not already. You're laughing because you live life without financial stress. So ask yourself, is debt detracting from your life? Is it making your life harder? Is it causing you worry? Are you not sleeping because of debt? Are you going grey because of debt? If debt is causing those problems for you, I suggest you focus on the habits of those that avoid debt like the plague and try to emulate them, try to copy them and get into the habit of avoiding debt. Stop debting immediately. Say to yourself, no new debt. If it's going to put me into debt, I can't have it. If that means that you have to do your own nails or drive the same car for another 12 months or whatever, so be it. No new debt. Follow non-debtors. Look around you in your circle of friends and family and see who's not in debt. successful people leave clues that the rest of us can follow so we can become equally as successful. Go back to the Cheapskates Club, go through all the articles, go through the tips sheets, look at all the how-tos, learn all the time, learn, constantly be learning how you can live without going into debt. Study your friends that avoid debt. Ask yourself what you can learn from them. One small change will make a small difference. Lots of small changes add up to make a huge difference. So whether you aim for one small change and one small difference, or whether you want the works and you're going to go the whole hog and look for lots of small changes that you can make easily and almost painlessly to make a difference, is up to you. And I think that I'm going to set you some homework for this week. I want you to find small ways that you can avoid debt, or that you can use to pay down debt, and then come back next week, 7:30 next Tuesday, and share them with us. I don't often set homework, but I think that I want to this week, because this is a big thing. Living life without financial stress is great, is really, really good. I was talking to a friend about it this morning, and she was very stressed. Her income had dropped off quite considerably, but did that stop her? No. She was like the duck on the pond. The duck looks calm, go round and round on the pond, and underneath the little feet are paddling like crazy to keep him going. She was like that. So to the world, looked like nothing had changed, but she was working like crazy, and she's done it. She's been able to get back on track. If she'd sat at home and gone, oh, woe is me, I can't do it, it's too hard, she'd still be, sinking and probably sitting in a corner sucking a thumb. So do your homework. Look for small ways you can avoid debt, or if you don't have a lot of debt and you're not incurring new debt, look for small ways you can use to pay down that debt really quickly, and then come back next week and share them with us. So thank you for watching tonight. I'm sorry it's not a live stream again, but life happens. Before you go, please be sure to like our show, or if you're watching on the replay, give it a thumbs up. And if you're not already subscribed to our channel, click the subscribe button, just so we can notify you of new videos and live shows and you won't miss out. And lastly, something you can do that will really help our channel grow is share this video. There's a share button that will send the link to this show to your friends and family. We don't harass them. We don't contact them. They just get the link. We don't annoy them. It's entirely up to them if they watch or not. But growing our channel is important, because it means that we're spreading the word that it is possible to live the Cheapskates way, which is debt-free, cashed up and laughing, even in 2025. And, I have that goal. I would really like to see us get to 6,000 subscribers. We're so close, so close. And I've got a couple of ideas of what I'm going to do when we hit that 6,000. So the sooner we get there, the sooner I'll share them with you. Anyway, have a wonderful week, everyone. And until next time, remember, happy cheapskating and enjoy living life debt-free, cashed up and laughing. I'll be back next week, 7:30. I'll see you then.